Start out, we're going to chant some introductory mantras. If you don't know them, don't worry, just listen and let the vibrations just come to you. And those who know it, please sing with me, because it's inviting this energy, which is what we want, this divine energy to come in and fill us up. And so that's how we always start. So like Ramakrishna said, we went to India 22 years ago. And I like to say, I went to India and found Jesus and found that God was female. Actually, God is both. But I didn't really relate to God as female. That was a pretty complete new concept. How many here are, for them this is a new concept? That God is, there's a feminine face of God. Is that new? No? Okay, that's fantastic. Really, that's fantastic, because that I even have to explain that or even say that is remarkable. You know, it's remarkable that I have to explain, or that anyone has to explain to us that God has a feminine face. And why don't we know that? Right? Why don't we know that? All the cultures in the world, the ancient cultures, the indigenous cultures, you'll see they worshipped a form of the female, the goddess. Fertility goddesses, right? Each tradition that Native Americans, everywhere in the world, and Europe and India, China, there was always a feminine face of the divine. But over time, that changed. And we lost that, except we see that in India, we see that in other cultures, we see that in indigenous cultures. They haven't forgotten that. But we've forgotten that. We're not in touch with that incredible energy called the Mother, the Divine Mother, the Goddess, the Devi, the World Mother, the Cosmic Womb. We have to come in touch with her again. And the world needs to recognize that. And why is that? Well, this is a big, big subject, I want you to know. The saints, all of those spiritual masters, the yogis that you've read about in India, how many are aware of the various masters in the world, like Yogananda, Babaji, and so on, right? Well, they were all connected to the Divine Mother for a very, very, very good reason. And they tried to understand who she was and what this mystery of the Mother is. We're still trying to understand that. And each person has to understand that. You know, there used to be a time, as I said, when God had a female face, had both a female and a male face, right? If you think of the indigenous cultures, they worshipped the earth, Mother Earth, and they worshipped the spirit, right? Those two. That's male and female. They understood there's a role for both in the cosmic realm and in the worldly realm where we live. The Mother they revered as a source of all life, everything that makes us survive is given by Mother Earth. We can all see that. It's not an esoteric concept, right? The rain falls equally on all of her children, right? We all breathe the air equally. Every single thing she gives, nature gives to each of her children equally. That's the nature of the Mother. So the ancients worshipped the Mother. They found it was sacred. The land was sacred. The earth is sacred. Revere that. Respect that. Don't abuse that. Don't violate that. Because they saw it as a source of all life. And the spirit, what is that? That spirit was the consciousness that was watching all of this creation. Right? That spirit, that consciousness, there's two aspects. The male aspect, considered male aspect, is the observer, what is watching this whole creation. Untouched, unmoved, eternal, forever blissful, but unmoving. In order for there to be a creation, something has to come out of that infinite unity. to make things change, right? In other words, we have an unchanging universe. We have unchanging, but in order for it to change, in order for manifestation, for the world to happen, there has to be movement, energy. That's Mother. That's the creative force of in all of the creation. The ancients call this in India, in Sanskrit, shakti. Shakti. Shakti means energy, power. We often think now in these days that the male energy is the main power, right? That's our concept in the world. But it's quite different to the yogis, the masters, the saints, and the wisdom characters. What they see is the mother, the Shakti is power, because it makes everything, it makes creation happen. It's energy. Imagine that all of us right now, your energy was no longer in this body. What happens to you? You're a corpse, right? Nothing. What animates you? What animates you is Shakti. That's Mother. When we have an abundance of the Shakti, we can do amazing things in our life. We can accomplish things. If you have the Shakti of money, you have prosperity. If you have the Shakti of intelligence, then you have creative thoughts. If you have the Shakti of physical prowess, then you have that capability. Everything is a Shakti, it's an energy. The energy to do and to create. That is called Mother. You know, we don't have to worship God as Mother or as Father. This is not like trying to get anyone to go in a certain direction. I mean, that you have to go this way. You can worship God as silence, right? As oneness, as light, as Jesus, as Buddha. There are infinite ways or infinite paths to the divine. And the goal for each one of those paths is the same. It's that unity, it's the recognizing of who you are, that you are divine, and experiencing that. It's unity consciousness, oneness. The goal is the same, but the path is different. And the paths change according to the times. Like we live in our time, we need very fast results, for example, right? We don't have a lot of time to do a lot of spiritual practices. That's one thing. But we also have an abundance of negativity in this world. Our teacher, Sri Kaleshwar, used to say that the human mind is nowadays 99% negative thoughts. On average, each person has 56,000 thoughts a minute about mostly nothing or negative. And that's negative mostly about oneself. If you look at yourself, what you're saying to yourself, right? Because the nature is that way. Because we are in these vibrations, which are highly negative in this age. And they're affecting us, so they affect the way we think. How do we rectify that? How do we come out of that? A huge percentage of people in the world are heartbroken. That's a big disease. Tremendous heartbreak. That's why we're seeing depression. We're seeing anxiety. All of the addictions, all of the things that we see today, right? This is not a normal situation that we're living in, by the way. We are living in the height of the negativity. We're really, really at the time that all the saints say we're at the precipice of a new time. On one level, there's this huge spiritual awakening happening, and we have all these things, which I'll talk about more, that were never available to us before. And at the same time, we're seeing the negativity. I don't need to even mention it anymore. By the way, I heard President Trump was in town, and did you hear that?
Yeah, it was at the airport.
Right. So we have two worlds coming, and we see that. What can we really do about that? What can we really do? We're really facing a lot. Right? Well, there's no change unless there's a change in our consciousness. And that's why we need to connect to the Mother. Really, the Divine Mother is the highest consciousness. Highest divine consciousness. We're in human consciousness, right? But we're divine, but we don't know it. How do we get there? How do we experience that? How do we feel that way about ourselves? Right? How do we access this divine source of energy to heal us, to make us happy, to make our minds clear, to make our relationships beautiful and harmonious? Right? This is what the Mother teaches us. This is what she wants. She wants all of her children to wake up now. That's the only solution in front of us. There is no other solution right now but to wake up and to reach that level of consciousness. In Sanskrit, there's a word for the goddess, the Divine Mother, as chitti, which means highest divine consciousness, this scintillating divine creative consciousness. Now it's creative. It's highly, highly, highly creative because the Mother is creative. She's constantly creating this whole creation, everything. And when we tap into her energy, we get that. But we live in human consciousness called chitta. But she's the one who changes our human consciousness into divine consciousness. What is human consciousness? Well, self-doubt is a big one. Unworthiness. This is the state of human consciousness right now, right? Self-doubt, unworthiness, insecurity, lack of belief in oneself, right? Anger, frustration, anxiety, all of those things that we all know. We all know them because we are also human. So this is not something that we're pointing out to any one particular person. It's the human package. But there's a possibility of experiencing that and reaching that divine consciousness. And that's the journey the Mother takes you on. For you to recognize yourself, the beauty and divine nature of yourself. Each of you is her creation. Every soul was created from the cosmic womb. That is her. Each of you has a unique vibration in that. She didn't make two of any of us. That is her greatness. Right? But then there comes a point, you live many, many, many lifetimes. They say you have to have 1 million lifetimes of various species before you're getting to hear the truth and before enlightenment is possible. That you're even sitting here today hearing this message means we're ready to receive that from her. She lets you play in her creation for lifetimes, enjoying all of the sense pleasures and all of the great things in life, the sorrows and the joys, until you're fed up, right? You're fed up. Or you want more than just that. You know there's more, that incompleteness, that's searching for something you can't even put a name to. It's called discontent, or sometimes our heartbreak pushes us to search for something more. You know there's something more. Why do you know there's something more? Because in you is something more, and you're looking for that. That's calling you to say, I'm ready. So the mother doesn't really pay attention to you. She lets you go because you're in her creation. This is her illusion creation. And then she doesn't really pay attention to you. It's like, you're fine. But then there comes a point when she starts to pay attention to you. She puts her attention on you. And that's when your vibration is at a certain place. When your vibration is at a certain level, then she comes and pays attention to you. And that could mean many things. But she's in your life. And that's the greatest, greatest, greatest blessing you can imagine. When we open up and experience, like today, we listened to bhajans, right? We listened to those sounds, and then I could see everyone was, afterward, they just wanted to meditate for a while. They wanted that peace, right? These vibrations are mother. Right? All of these, we generate these so we can experience her. And we generate this so that we can go deep in ourselves, past our minds, past all of our crazy beliefs and all of the things that are running there, and go to something deeper. When we start to receive her energy, it comes in our soul. And she starts to wake us up through our chakras. It's a journey that begins. And she wakes up our chakras, because hidden in every person are these extraordinary chakras. And in those, everything is hidden in you. Everything is hidden in you. There's nothing different between me and you. Absolutely nothing. 100%, each soul is the same, except they don't know what they have. But the mother's journey, when she starts to awaken you with her energy and start to move in you, a huge process begins, right? Purification. All of those things that we just talked about, the mind, all of those crazy ideas we have about ourselves, all of our heartbreaks and sadness and, all of those things that we believe we are, that we identify with. She starts to wash those from us and give us an experience of bliss. Bliss is a requirement for the soul. Without it, life is dull and dreary. If you're not experiencing bliss, you should. And it's the greatest, greatest, greatest healer of our soul when we can experience that, and we can very easily. It's not difficult, but it takes a few practices, a few things, and we can pull her. We can pull her energy, and she can start to do her work. Now, we talked about going to India and studying all of these palm leaf books, right? These manuscripts. That's what we were doing in India, which is why when I went, basically I didn't leave for 15 years. I went on a trip that was going to be 3 months. And it lasted 15 years. And now here I am today. This is not what I thought. I didn't think I was going to be doing this in my life, right? But that's what Mother wants. She wants to connect with people. She wants us to be her instruments in the world. She wants us to be her instruments in the world. In these manuscripts, there were all these hidden treasures. Now, as I said, this was a very unique time because we have this knowledge, right, that was never available ever before. Thousands of years, only a few very, very eligible souls were able to to get this knowledge and do these practices. So it's hidden, restricted, but now, as in all traditions, like the knowledge is coming to the West, the Dharma is coming to the West, and all these traditions are now releasing all this highly secret. The Dalai Lama is doing it with the Kali Chakra. Many, many saints are now doing that because the world needs that now. The world is suffering, tremendous mental suffering in the world. Huge percentage of people suffering is mental. And if we're not happy, peaceful souls, then there's something missing, because that's our birthright, and it's possible for us to be happy and peaceful and purposeful. Right? Purposeful. We're here to do something, each of us. Doesn't mean we have to start a mission to leave the world, but you have a world around you. Each of us has a world. You have a circle. You're here to touch that circle and help that circle and anyone you meet. One of our lineage, Shri Baba used to say, God has agents everywhere. Which is very reassuring, right? But we're also those agents. And we need to develop that. How do we develop that so we are better at it? The more we can really help. Well, in these manuscripts, what they talked about was that the saints, like Jesus actually went to India. How many people know that? How many people don't know that? Okay. Phew. Well, yeah, Jesus, yeah. And you can actually see now there's much more awareness about that, but BBC did a documentary about Jesus in India. Jesus was in India, and that's where he learned. And he learned with the masters. And he developed everything that we see in the Bible is what he learned in India. All the miracles that he did is a science. It's not happenstance. It was a science that he worked towards and that many masters helped him to achieve. And his goal was to go back to his land and serve his people and awaken them. But the energy that he had, the miracle energy we call it, that's Mother. Mother is miracle energy. She's the force that creates the world. That's a miracle, right? What is that force, that creative force? Well, if you have that force with you, if the force is with you, yes, things will happen. And you know what? We need miracles in our lives. We need miracles. Each of us needs miracles. The world needs miracles. The miracle energy. When you connect to the Mother, that's what starts to happen. Miracles start to happen in your life. The thing, there are all these different paths. Some paths tell you to renounce the world and go in the mountain, in the cave, right? The Mother's path is not that. The Mother's path is embracing the world. The Mother, they say, it is said that the Mother creates the world like a spider web. Right? I think a spider creates a web, but then lives inside it. Right? She's weaving this, but she's in it. What does that mean? Well, it means she became each one of us and became everything in this entire world. The big secret is she's hidden in each of us. Like Kalika was saying in the bhajans, you know, we all have these cosmic forces in us. And we have these cosmic forces, the male, female, the Shiva Shakti, that Mother energy, as we say. So of course we can see she creates this world. She lives in it as each of us, even though we're you know, forgetful of that. But she is. So of course her whole concern, that concern of that energy, is that this life will be a joyous and happy life, right? That you will be happy and she will fulfill your desires. And she will train you to want better desires, have better desires, more helpful to you, your soul, and your consciousness. But she'll train you and teach you in that. The energy, as we say, will train you. What does that mean? She lives in you as the energy, and when you start to become in touch with this energy, and it's very alive, you'll read the energy, and it'll be clear, no, not this way, not this way. And the clearer your consciousness becomes, the more you can see that, the more you can be aware of what that energy is telling you. But she's guiding you through the energy, not the mind, because the mind will often say something like, well, I was supposed to do this at 8 o'clock, but the energy might tell you, no, you need to do something else. There's some other thing that you need to do. And you learn to follow that and trust that. And it's a guiding force to you. So the Mother teaches us. The Mother wants us to relate and have beautiful relationships, soul relationships. Like some of the knowledge in all of this tradition of the Mother is about soulmates, how important soulmates are. Now, soulmates are not, you know, like the modern idea or the, you know, New Age idea about soulmates is some romantic something, you know. And that's like a very superficial reflection of the reality of what a true soulmate is. You know, that soulmates are really the most important kinds of relationships we can have. And we can have more than one soulmate. And we can learn to relate to other people as soulmates. Because soulmates are about unconditional love. And someone being there, standing with you, no matter what. Right? That you have those kinds of relationships. People who see you, believe in you, and will stand in you and love you no matter what. That's true relationship. And that's what she's here to teach us. Not disengage from the world, but engage in the world, but in a very, not in a superficial way, but in a heart way and a soul way. And she shows us how to do that, so that we transform our lives. When our energy starts to come, oh my God, I've just got that, we have 10 minutes left? Oh boy, okay.
No.
Okay, we can go a little more, okay.
Please don't stop.
So the energy of, she is there. When we can make that connection to her, she fulfills our desires. There are many practices where she will fulfill our desires, what we need in our lives. Like we can go to her for everything, right? And when we start to receive her energy, it's this huge transformation that happens in you. And a huge healing goes on. You start to purify these illusions or negativities and negative impressions, and start to experience the positive clarity of the mother's energy. You know, we go to the mother to fulfill our desires, because why? She is the ultimate manifester, right? Well, she manifests as creation. So she can manifest whatever it is you desire, whatever you need. But really she's training you in that. Right? All of us have the same energy in us as she. And this creative ability to manifest your intentions is what we need, each of us. But we need clarity of consciousness to know what we should manifest, right? And the power behind it. That's shakti. So you'll find, for example, the more the mother's energy is in you, the greater your ability for your intentions to manifest and become physical, or come into this world, which is very, very important. Because, like, for example, what we do is we've learned specific healing techniques for how to work with people. And when you have the intention to heal someone, or that healing occur, you're not doing any healing, but you have the intention to help this person. How can I help this person? This person needs this, this, or this. And then you pray for that, and the mother's energy will make that happen in their life. That's how we can really help one another. Remember, Jesus talked about the Holy Spirit, right? Anybody know that, right? And then the disciples, what happened? The apostles, the Holy Spirit came upon them, and they were suddenly able to do all of these amazing things, right? The Holy Spirit is shakti. He was talking about the mother, and he showed his disciples how to connect to her, so that energy was flowing through them, and why they were able to do all the extraordinary things that they did. It was really Mother working through them, right? They were, and this is available to all of us. Now, as I was saying, that the Mother manifests as each one of us, right? She manifests herself as the earth and all of nature, as well as everything living in nature, all of us. Our internal world and external world are all her. She's manifested as that. But she can also, obviously, manifest as any of those divine forms that you saw in the slideshow. The saints in India do a lot of practices so they can have that experience of her, to see her in front of you. Is anyone familiar with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? A few people? Okay. Well, he's in our lineage. He was a saint in the 1800s, and quite an extraordinary, amazing being. He was a priest at a Kali temple in Dakshineshwar in India, near Calcutta. So he worshipped this statue, and it really drove him insane to a certain degree, because he kept saying to her, "Come out of that statue. I want to see you. I want to talk to you." He did this for 12 long years. Terrible, longing, huge spiritual practice. And then a woman saint came and blessed him and showed him. And then he had his first experience of the Divine Mother in form. Now, the thing, when I talk about that experience, it sounds, I don't know how it might sound to, I'm curious actually how it sounds. Because, you know, and then you think, okay, this is relegated to this great saint. Because then what happened after that? He developed, and he reached the highest stage of enlightenment, and then he started talking to the Mother every day. She would appear to him and answer his questions, and you know, just be there with him, because, and this is what he shared with the world, which is really, really remarkable. You know, because you can read it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and his discussions with the Mother and what his experiences were. And we know that because our teacher, Sri Kaleshwar, also shared with us his experiences, and you know, that they were quite mind-blowing, is the only way to say it. Mind-blowing, you know. But I remember after one of these times where he saw her, and I was sitting with him, and he looked at me and he said, "Everyone really needs to know her love and her bliss. They need to know, and they need to experience that in their lives." Our teacher was the next stage of evolution of this knowledge, because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he had that experience, and he gave that experience, some of that experience, to Vivekananda. Maybe you know that name, Swami Vivekananda. But for the most part, his students hadn't really experienced that. But that was not our teacher's goal. He said, many people have to experience her. This is a time of the mother energy. This is a time, and it will become more so, more accessible to people, that they can have this experience and this personal relationship with the Divine Mother. So we did many different sadhanas, which are spiritual practices, and to raise our vibration, right? And then he gave many people the experience of a mother, of seeing the mother in physical form. And I can tell you, there are no words. I've tried to describe these experiences, and there are no words, but anyway, the words have to be said. And to be in that presence. The first time I saw the mother that Swami brought, we called him Swami, gave that experience, I walked into a room and the most beautiful, dazzling woman I had ever seen. But not a human dazzling, you know. She was lit from within. The word self-luminous, sometimes you may have heard that phrase, self-luminous. I never really understood what that meant until I saw it. Like, oh my God, and now I'm saying, oh my God, I wasn't saying it like that. But to see her, first of all, this light and this beauty. And she was dressed in this perfectly folded red silk sari. And she was standing barefoot on a tiger skin rug. And this whole experience lasted 9 minutes, but it was completely out of any sense of time, you know. And Sri Kaleshwar, my master, was behind me. And when I looked at her, first of all, like you can't even describe the state that you are in. Because one of the things that happens is she raises you up to her level. And when I was looking at her, she was just so beautiful, but I had this feeling, I know her. She's so familiar to me. And this all flashes, you know, all this is happening, and I didn't quite get that. What was that? And it was this gnawing feeling for years, you know. But the other aspect of her that always is there is this. It's pure, for those who know this word, stita prajna. Like total equanimity, stability, immovability, unshakable, silent, peaceful. That energy. And I bowed to her. I asked her for something. I bowed to her. I bowed to her feet. And they were so beautiful. What struck me is how natural they were. You know, like her second toe was bigger than her first toe, and she had silver toe rings. But they were so natural and so human. After that experience, the bliss was flowing for, I don't know how long, days and days and days. It was really, this is her energy. Like she fills you with her energy. To raise you up, that's what she's doing. It's an enlightenment process to raise you up. This bliss kept happening, and the other thing that I know that was so profound to me was every woman was Mother Divine. Every woman. I'd look and I could see her in each woman. I didn't understand that either. But it was clear, it was so clear. She was giving me this understanding, which is exactly what she told Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Every woman is an expression of me. And I saw that. That was clear to me as anything else. Which is also why I really want to support women in coming to understand the greatness that they carry within them. Each person carries that, men and women, but women have really lost sight of that. They don't know that, and they need to know that. And that's what she was telling me. This is what you have to start to do. In different experiences with her, as I said, she is the miracle lady. So I've seen her in many different forms, and she will give you things. You know, she'll give you boons, and also objects, sacred objects. So, like once she manifests out of her palm, and once through her fingers and her mouth. She can manifest through any part of her body, whatever she wants. The reason we go to her is to receive that energy, and also to receive boons. Bless these special blessings. And these blessings are not meant just for ourselves. They are boons, how you can help the world. Many saints have gone to her. In India there is a great warrior named Shivaji who was defending his country. He was a great devotee of the Divine Mother, and she appeared to him, and he asked her for a sword to win the battle. She gave the sword to him, he won the battle, and that sword can still be seen in India. This is the big secret in India. They know this stuff. They know how to go to the Mother. All of the saints in time, the gods, when the world gets really bad, they go to her. She's the only one who can save and protect this world because she is the power. But I want to go back to that experience that I was saying when I looked at her and why is she so familiar? You know, that gnawing thing. it took me a very long time to get this. Also because it was very difficult to digest this experience because it was so big. But what I realized is she was showing me myself. And that's what she shows everyone. Because we are all a face of her. And she wants you to recognize who it is, who you are, your divine nature. So she raises you up so you can see that. And just seeing that, even if you don't know, like me, anything about that, it's like, what was that? But it did its work, it did its job. Now, seeing the mother, there are many ways that we can experience her immediately. You know, there are practices that we can do to experience her energy and bring it to us. And she may come and she can come in many different ways. Students of this knowledge are practicing it, and they'll, of course, have dreams about her or visions of her, or you'll hear anklets running, and you won't know who it is, or someone will be standing at the edge of your bed, or you'll be hearing some singing, some divine singing. All these are symptoms. She can come in any kind of way. And she can come in a human form where you don't recognize her. And I can say that you won't recognize her most of the time. But yes, she can, and she does. And there's a lot more of that happening, actually. The point is that everyone can experience her, feel her presence, feel her energy, receive her energy, and come to your own personal relationship with her. That's the main thing. To know you have your divine mother there. You have a mother. We all need that mothering. We really do. We need to know her love. We need to know she is there, that we can call her, she will answer, and we can develop our relationship with her. And we don't need someone, an intermediary, telling us or show. You can get a guide, but it's your relationship directly. This is really important now that the mother comes, because the world, the imbalance of that male energy, and this is not a negative comment on men, they're suffering from that just as much, right? The imbalance that we see in the world that is happening because of that. It needs the balance of the female energy to come up. So when we worship the mother, when we recognize the mother, we start to have appreciation for nature and for women. We start to see them in a different light, because you cannot be a devotee of the mother and disregard, disrespect, or violate women. Because you know that energy will come back to you in a terrible, terrible, terrible way, beside the fact that your heart can't stand that. But what Sri Kaleshwar said was that kingdoms have been lost because of tears of women. And when we see in the world the tears of women happening now, the tears of children are the tears of women. We can see what will happen in the world. We're seeing it before our eyes. So raising the awareness of the mother energy. We need the mother energy. We need women to recognize what they have. Men recognize what their feminine aspect inside themselves, their heart, and to support women or see women in this way. When women raise up, which all of the saints and all the prophecies say is this, what will happen and what will save this world is when women come up and when women gather together to create and take care. It doesn't mean that everyone has to become a president or this or that. No, no, no. A mother, a wife, anything, any role a woman takes, but that she sees that, recognizes that incredible power, and that her heart energy is actually very, very precious in this world. And that's what the world needs. The world needs the heart energy. The world needs that now. So when we raise the awareness of the Divine Mother, we're also raising that for all women, all men. And it will be the source of how we come up and come out of this current situation that we're in. So I've been told my time is up. I want to thank you for listening, being so receptive. And I want to invite everyone to the fire ceremony in Blanco. Because the fire ceremony is really important. That fire is actually the living expression of the Divine Mother. So we can receive, we can receive what we need, we can purify and let go, and we can also get a lot of divine vibrations to lift our soul. And this is beautiful. I haven't been there, so the first time I've been there, I'll be there. We're inaugurating the center, and I really welcome everyone to come and experience this energy. And we'll be giving different transmissions at that then, so you can experience her more directly.